Hello. By request, I'm going to make some bread. Okay, so first I start with the recipe, and I read the recipe like a million times. I cut the recipe in half. The recipe calls for 4 loaves, but I like to make 2 loaves and eat one and freeze one. So there's 2 kinds of yeast. There's 2 kinds of yeast, instant yeast and active dry yeast. If you use instant yeast, you don't need to proof it, and you wouldn't need to do the first step that I do. If you use active dry yeast, you do need to proof it, and you would do the step that I'm doing. So I'm going to be using active dry yeast. So first, you need a little bit of water, like less than an ounce. I measured out 8/10 of an ounce, and I'm going to put it in the microwave for about 4 seconds. You don't want it too hot. You want it really warm, but not too hot. Then I'm going to take my yeast, 3/4 of a teaspoon. And I'm going to put the yeast in a little bit of water. And I'm going to put a little sugar, just a pinch, so that feeds the yeast and it helps stir, just to kind of get it all together. So while that's growing, I'm going to measure out 8 ounces of bread flour. You could do it a cup. You could use a measuring cup and just use a cup, but I'm going to weigh out 8 ounces. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to take a teaspoon of kosher salt, and I'm going to mix it in the flour. I let that sit for about 5 minutes, and now it's foamy and kind of puffed up. So now I'm going to make a hole in the middle. Pour that right in the middle. Try to get all of it out into that. And then mix that in. Now you need 5 ounces of cool water. That's this. And what I do is I pour that in there just to make sure I get all the yeast. And then you pour this in slowly till it basically comes together. It's a shaggy dough that is formed. It says you don't need it all, but I'll just use it all. Okay, so now, see, it's super shaggy. Almost looks like it's not. It's coming together, which is fine. It's supposed to be like that. It's a very dry dough. You see what that looks like? See, it's very shaggy and dry, and that's cool. It's fine. So then you just put that, get all the dough in there. So now what we're gonna do is cover the bowl with plastic wrap. What I use is the shower caps from hotel rooms. They're really good because they have the elastic, they hug the bowl, and they're reusable. You can use them. You can use them over and over. And I just cover the bowl with that. And that's it. I'd let that sit for ½ an hour to rest. Okay, now I'm ready for the next step. It's been ½ an hour, and it looks pretty much the same. It was just resting. So now lightly flour a work surface, just a regular cutting board. Put some flour on that. And then I'm going to transfer the dough. There's parts of it that are dry, and that's okay. And I'm going to push into a rectangle shape. And I'm going to fold it over once, and fold it over twice, press it down. And I'm going to fold it over once and fold it over twice, and that's it. Now I'm going to take a bowl and put a little olive oil in that. And grease that bowl up. And then I'm going to place the dough in the bowl. And cover it with the shower cup. You're going to leave that to sit for 2 hours. Because my kitchen is kind of cold, I create a place for the dough to rise a little bit better by boiling some water. And then you put the water in a cold oven that's off. And then I put the bread, the future bread, in the oven with the boiled water. And that's it. And I leave it there for 2 hours. Okay, it's been 2 hours, so I'm going to take it out and take a look. Look at that. It's about 2 times the amount, double the size. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to take it out and put it back on my board here. And put a little flour down. Okay, so I'm going to take it out, put it on the board. Okay. So it's not so smooth. There are lumps in it. That's fine. And I'm going to take a straight edge knife and cut it in half. It sticks a little. That's fine too. I love these silicone mats for baking. They are really great. They don't stick and they work really well. So what I've done is I've made one. This is my own homemade contraption here. I made one that's in the shape of loaves. And how I did that is I just put plastic bags, one in the middle and one on either end. It's not perfect. They sell ones that are the correct shape, but I make my own. So I just put a little flour down on that. Just kind of mush that around. And now I'm going to take half of this that I just cut. And I'm going to place it in that spot I just made. And then I'm going to take the other half and place that in the other spot. I could see that. So I kind of evened that one out a little. It looked a little not even. Okay, so now those actually have to sit for another half hour or so. You cover that with oiled plastic. Put that on top like that, and that's it. And now I'm going to let that sit for a half hour, 45 minutes. This is going to go in the off oven. This oven is off with that water in there. Okay, now I'm going to take that out. It's been about half an hour. I'm going to take it out. You can see they've plumped up a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. They plumped up a little bit. And I'm going to preheat my oven now. And oh, and this is really important, is that you leave the water in the oven. And if you haven't done that, you should put water in the oven. So you need to have water in the lower part of the oven. And what that does, it allows it to crisp better. Now I'm going to set the temperature to 450. So now when that gets to temperature, we'll be ready to cook the bread. Okay, so it's ready to go in. So now I'm going to remove the plastic bags. So they're just regular plastic bags I used. I'm going to remove the top sheet carefully. Sticks a little even with the oil, but not too much. I'm going to remove this plastic bag and the one in the middle. Flatten that out. And then, see, it doesn't look so good yet. And then I'm going to put it in the steaming oven. 35 minutes. I'll be back. It's been about 25 minutes, a little bit less, and I'm looking at it and it's pretty brown right now, so I'm actually going to turn off the oven and I'm going to take it out. Let's see how it looks. That looks pretty done to me with the, yeah, see? Pretty nicely browned. And now for the best part of the whole process. And I'm gonna cut the bread. Look at the bread. It came out beautifully. So it doesn't always look good, and I actually forgot to slice the top, but it really doesn't matter if you forget something or not. It just crunches and tastes amazing.